Nerdrotic.com.
The world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on, the moon was seen, no words were laid on stream or stone, when Durin woke and walked alone. The name the nameless, his hells and dells, he drank from yet untasted wells, he stooped and looked in mirror, and saw a crown of stars appear as gems upon a silver thread above the shadows of his head. The world is gray, the mountains old, the forge fire is ashen cold, no harp is rung, no hammer falls, the darkness dwells in Durin's halls. The shadow lies upon his tomb in Moria, in Khazad-dûm. But still the sunken stars appear in dark and windless mirror. There lies his crown in water deep, till Durin wakes again from sleep. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Nerdrotic at Night. And I've had a day of watching my beloved comic book industry fall apart and die, and it bums me out. I'm not happy about it. I recorded a video on it pretty much all day. I was working on 2 videos today, the Star Trek Picard review, and what's been happening with that is I keep finding excuses not to go back and watch Star Trek Picard because I got to watch it over again. And I decided to record an entire other video on the Gotham High stuff and the latest news from retailers. And I've talked to a couple retailers today, and it's just, you know what? I want to have a chill stream tonight. I really do. The video's coming out in the morning. It's full of piss and vinegar, and I'll do a live stream tomorrow that'll be full of piss and vinegar. I've already got my thumbnail ready to go, and we're going to talk about Dana Schwartz and all that stuff. But tonight, I just want to chill. So we can talk about whatever you want. You can ask me whatever you want. And of course, we can debate. Well, there's not much of a debate. Lord of the Rings is better than Star Wars. This is not an argument anybody's ever going to win with me, ever. And we can, we can even bring in The Hobbit versus the prequels, and I'll argue that The Hobbit is better than the prequels as well. We have beautiful poems that I butcher. And what do we get from Star Wars? Sand. I hate sand. Yeah. So I say I love Star Wars. Star Wars is great, but it wouldn't exist without Lord of the Rings. And it's one of the greatest stories ever told. It's the greatest trilogy of all time. And what inspired this live stream was a tweet from Jeremy's bad dog. Bad dog. Let's see if I can find that tweet. It came out a couple days ago. It's the worst take of all time, but I mean, it is a dog, so I'm going to take it a little easy. I think Josiah blocked Leia. Honestly, I at this point, maybe you should put the dog down, but it's up to Jeremy. It's up to Jeremy. It's if I can, there she is. There she is. And I'll bring it up in a second here. I tweeted back. But yeah, it's just, I try to keep it light fair here tonight with y'all, and we'll see who's here in just a second. I want to bring this tweet up. Oh my God, it was so long ago. I've spent far too much time on Twitter. Yeah, this confinement is not good for my Twitter time here. Where did it go? I probably should have had it ready, but again, this is a chill stream, so I don't care. Welcome, everybody. It might be good morning, wherever you are, or good afternoon, or good evening. Leia, you. Oh, now I can't find it. So let's hang on. Boop, 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 boop. I had no idea I've been on Twitter this much. This is ridiculous. There it is. There we go. All right. Bad dog. So we got Leia quite successfully just became the first account I've ever blocked. Well done. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is a pile of, what did he say here? A pile of shit. Garbage movies, garbage characters, garbage trilogy. Now, considering you're a being that eats garbage, I understand that. But yeah, it's one of the worst takes I've ever seen. So what an embarrassing take. Take yourself to the vet. Put yourself down. You bad dog. And it got me thinking, wow. It's so nice that Lord of the Rings, yeah, I know the TV show's coming out and everything, but it's been free of all this. I'm sure there's been the occasional article out there how it's too white. And of course, we know that one of the actresses in the film said there should be a female Gandalf. And I did a video in response. But mostly it's been left alone. Now, Christopher Tolkien, the great Christopher Tolkien, has passed. May he rest in peace. And he was protecting it. And the estate has been protecting this for a very long time, which has been a very, very good thing. But, now we're at heirs, we're at grandkids and grandkids, and who knows? Who knows what happens? But for right now, it's pure, and it looks like we're not going to get a show for at least 2 more years, so we can enjoy right now. Now, watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy, all 3 of the special editions, is probably some prime quarantine viewing. And, yeah. Despite, going on YouTube and checking out live streams, obviously. So let's see who's here. We've got SM Adventures Industries, BAP2 Tech Guy, Nicholas Hayes, Sean the Geek, Alan Fowler, Drake Nodids the Vigilant, Drac Nodids the Vigilant, Rhaegar Targaryen. What's up? Yeah, we'll talk a little Song of Ice and Fire too. I was thinking about going with that or Lord of the Rings tonight, but we're going with that. Honestly, we can talk about whatever though. According to Christie is here with a wrench. David Ray, Free Thinker, Xenoworks, Apocrypha, Darth Scipio, Zevius, Easy Does It, Jude Sellers, and Le Reddit Silver member Jay Hess, Adventures Industry, Ben from Gulf City, Preserving Light, The Revenant, and Soul Assassin, Fatty. You're just big boned. It's okay. Kush Deep Singh, I am Siler. Which Siler? Are you the Siler from, was that slow? Who was Siler from again? Was Siler in Siler was it not Gossip Girl? It was one of those shows I watched 10 years ago. Was it? Oh, Siler was in Alias, right? Maybe he was in Alias. Fat Freddy's Cat, Vukasin Zavasin, Keck 44, Kush Deep Singh. I read that one. Stellar Heather's here, and she's a member, and that's great. Jason Smoot is a member. May May Wang. Hi, May. Jeff Soy and Black Jeff. I just said Soul. Did I say Soy? Man, shame on me, Jeff. You're not Soy. You're Soul. And Blackball. Well, don't we know about that? Don't we know about that? Zero Dualities here as well. So, I take in a lot of Lord of the Rings entertainment. I listen to the BBC audio series or the audiobook pretty much daily. I crack open my leather-bound books a little bit once in a while. I don't own a first printing of Lord of the Rings. A little too pricey. I never got around to it when I had the shop, so it's just not going to happen. Those things are worth a lot of money. But I love it. And the reason I love it is because it's a story that we're not going to get anymore. And it makes me appreciate it even more. And you know, we had our friend George R. R. Martin subverting the tropes of Tolkien, but the more I read it, the more I understand that it is not a simple story at all. It's something that when you reread and you get into the world, it's dense, and it's mind-boggling that comes from one person's head, and I learned something from it. Yeah, maybe it's my Bible. I don't know. It might be my Bible at this point. And Gandalf might be my my higher power. We'll just say my higher power. But it's great escapism, and it has messages in it, but nothing that hammers you over the head. And it has actual friendship in it. Yeah, actual friendship. Something you can't show anymore. They got to be sleeping with each other. There's got to be some innuendo here or there. It's got the atypical hero's journey, and if you read the book, the film, with Samwise, especially when he's calling Frodo, Frodo is more lordly in the book. I guess that's the best way to put it. Samwise calls him master, which is boss. He wasn't a slave or anything, but it definitely had that patriarchal thing that Hollywood and the BBC just hate. So I don't know how it's going to get produced, even by Amazon now, supposedly. Now the deal with Jeffrey Bezos is, what does a billionaire want? What does a billionaire, when you have absolutely everything, like what could you possibly want? What would you aspire to? And he wants to be in with Hollywood, like in the worst way. He's, Crowder's brought this up before, and we've seen it. He's kind of thirsty for Hollywood, and hey, it saved The Expanse. Well, so I'll take that. Unfortunately, it also got him to take on Picard. But I think he's willing to bend the knee to Hollywood, and that's kind of a bummer. So I hope he doesn't do that with this show, because that would chap my hide beyond belief. Master Baggins, yes. He's a lordly lord. And Frodo's, especially in the book and in the radio series, he's a lot tougher than he is he's tough in the films, but he's a lot tougher on Sam, and at times he's really tough on Gollum. But Gollum's bad too. But I remember watching the films, and when I watched the films, I had read the book maybe 7 or 8 years before I saw the movie, and that was the last time I read it. And I was sitting behind somebody who was just pissed. He hated the movie. So I loved it, right? So my only perspective was this dude sitting in front of me for the first time. I'm like, when I walked into the films for the first time, when I walked into Fellowship of the Ring, I didn't know what to expect. It looked fun. I didn't think we were going to get the greatest trilogy of all time, because the effects looked pretty good, but at the time they were pretty good. But I was just expecting kind of a cheesy film that I'm going to walk out enjoying, a good, good Christmas movie, have some popcorn, walk out and leave. I didn't expect to be absolutely blown away. So when I heard that guy, I'm like, man, maybe I'm the only one who likes this movie, and I was with some friends and they liked it too. And then, we found, and I went home at night and I wanted to go back and see it again. So that's what I did. I went back the very next morning, first show, and watched it again. And then I ended up watching it again that night. So I saw it 3 times in a 48-hour period. And that was the theater version of it, which I haven't seen in a long time. I only watch the special editions now. That's all I watch. Now, just so you know, I don't expect full debate here. This is a chill stream. I'm just here chilling. I didn't do a ton of prep for it. I've been working on the video all day. That's why I kind of blew off the nooner today. Plus, I was pissed, totally pissed that my live stream got ghosted yesterday. Because, okay, I'll check myself a little bit. Like, I when I do a live stream, they're live streams. I thought yesterday I was on fire yesterday. I was mad. I was reading that Gotham High thing, and I got pretty pissed. And I thought it was one of my better live streams. And then I couldn't download it off of YouTube to import it over to Nerdrotic Live. So I had to screen capture it and record it. That took 2 hours. So it'll go up tomorrow. But I was bummed. I was like, yeah, that was a pretty good one. Too bad. And now tonight, I don't care. If it goes out, cool. Please share it. If not, fine. We're going to chill out. I will be alternate programming to Conan O'Brien in his bathtub or whoever. The Two Towers is only great Lord of the Rings film. The Two Towers is my favorite Darth Scipio, but it is not the only great film. It is, for the longest time, I thought it was Fellowship, but no, Two Towers is my favorite. If I have to choose, that's my favorite, because I'm a big King Theoden fan. His tale of redemption, he felt like a failure, and he was able to die with honor, and I thought that was cool. And with Éowyn, the original strong female lead, right? But that's a trope. That only started happening in 2018. It's not like Tolkien wrote it back in the 50s or anything like that, when it meant something. When it actually meant something. But no, Theoden is my fave. Here we go. Hang on. I'm going to try to not knock anything over. Yeah. This is my boy. These things are awesome. The Osmus. The detail on it, the swords. I don't know if they are, but they feel metal. I think they are just. Those are metal. They're definitely metal. But they are dope. And just a reminder to anybody coming in, we could talk about, again, whatever you want, but I'm kind of laying off the culture war shit tonight. I'm on, how long have we been locked down? So since the 16th, so 16, 15 days. And I'm used to this stuff. I've been confined for long periods of time before, but I'm sure a lot of people aren't. I took a nice long walk before our curfew tonight. And yes, we have a curfew of 8 o'clock here in San Francisco, which I don't know how I feel about that. I hate it, actually. I never thought I'd see this stuff in my lifetime. But you know what? We're doing good. Kids are doing good. Mrs. Nerdrotic's doing good. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about whatever the hell you guys want to talk about. Ghostbusters. What has Ghostbusters got to do? Ghostbusters is good. I for the longest time thought Ghostbusters outdrew Indiana Jones at the box office in 1984. But apparently it didn't. I thought it did. For many years, I believed that, and I was wrong on that one. Maybe the Mandela effect. Maybe, before CERN turned on, Ghostbusters did outgross Indiana Jones in 84, but apparently it didn't. That's crazy. Communism, right? Free thinker. We got plenty of that around here. It's a chill stream. That's right. That's what it is. I'm just going to babble. That's all. Moist Busters. No, there is nothing with Lord of the Rings. I just want to talk about something besides effing Star Trek and the comic book industry being destroyed. You'll get the latest news in my video, which will be out early in the morning. I finished it, but I didn't want to release it at 7 p.m. my time, which would have been 10 o'clock on the East Coast in the middle of the night in the UK. And it's my reaction of Gotham High and Dana Schwartz, the writer of She-Hulk. I've got, a couple things to say about her. And then we have some news from comic book retailing that's not good. That's not good. So after doing that, and then I got through 2 episodes of Picard. So I'm in through 4 episodes right now on my review. And it's, like I said earlier in the live stream, I'm finding excuses. Like, this is an excuse not to do the review right now. I'm like, maybe I should live stream. So I just don't want to do it. It's brutal. It's so bad. It's so freaking bad. And yeah, it's just bad. We're getting some ridiculous. Oh, by the way, I mean, we can't mention this. People from Marvel and DC are going to start coming on this platform. Yes, they're going to start YouTube channels. I got some info today. Now we know one of them's going to start using a very big platform, but some of them are going to come on over here now. After, I don't know, throwing us under the bus for how long? Calling us Yahtzees for how long? And now they want to come over into our world? Okay. Come on over. Let's have some fun. My goodness. Yes, Jeffrey, the Mrs. Let's tear down Western canon. And what's Western canon? The Lord of the Rings. She must hate the Lord of the Rings. There are people out there who pretend to be fans. They might even own some pop vinyls, like a Gandalf pop vinyl. But they come here and they want to completely undo it instead of making their own stories, making their own characters, going and do your own damn thing. I don't care. Do not F with King Theoden. You know what? If they rewrote Lord of the Rings now, King Theoden would beat Éowyn, and her redemption would come by killing him and probably teaming up with the Witch King of Angmar, who would be just misunderstood. The Witch King of Angmar would just be misunderstood. Yeah. So they canceled production on they didn't cancel, but they, by the way, there's no April. I don't do April Fool's shit. So I'm not going to be coming out with any, and I promise this isn't an April Fool's either, because it's not April Fool's Day yet here. I will not be doing April Fool's videos. My live streams are not going to be, I mean, I could do like, I love Jodie Whittaker, Doctor Who series 11 and 12 are the greatest ever, but no. But we are going to do something fun tomorrow. I'm going to borrow a little bit from EFAP, and we're going to go over a video. You out there and I are going to go over a video, and it'll be fun. And then the Mark Zickery interview will be at the end. Again, no April Fools. It's happening finally. And yeah, wouldn't it be funny tomorrow if we found out, beer bug, April Fool's. No. Too soon? Oh, let's get to you guys. Now, and if you have a question for me in the chat, just go ahead and hit add Nerdrotic, and I will try to get to it. If you have a burning desire, an argument that just will slay any Lord of the Rings, like this is why Star Wars is better, lay it on me. Now, I want you to come into this knowing that I used to love Star Wars, and I knew what Star Wars was before. What did I? Yeah, I knew what Star Wars was before Lord of the Rings, but it was close. Now, the Hobbit cartoon used to air on, I don't know if it was ABC or something. They used to air the Hobbit cartoon on TV, on national TV at night. And that was my first experience with it. And then there's, the Lord of the Rings animated, but that was more for older kids. My sister was into it. And the reason I've been told anyway. I was too young to know this, but Lord of the Rings was popular, and I don't know how it was in the UK, but this is what I was told in the States. Again, this could be bad information. I was a kid, so I had no idea what was going on in the 60s, but Lord of the Rings got hot in the 60s. Like all the hippies liked, just like Marvel Comics. All the hippies liked Lord of the Rings, and Led Zeppelin would, God, all these bands did, pretty much shape their concept albums around them and stuff. So that's when it kind of had a resurgence and in pop culture. And that's how my older sister is 5 years older than me. So she's like a 70s kid. She liked like Van Halen and The Who and Led Zeppelin. And she got me into all the good music. Cause I was a super uber dork as a little kid. And I was just listening to soundtracks all the time. I wore out my Empire Strikes Back soundtrack. I listened to that thing so much. I wore it out. And then one day, when I saw Almost Famous, my jaw dropped during the scene. Remember the scene when his sister comes in and drops a bunch of record albums on his bed, right? And says, "Listen to these." That exact thing happened to me. My sister came in. She had the Police, Ghost in the Machine, Oingo Boingo, Only a Lad, the Cars, the Who, Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti, and I think one other, Bad Company. And she like, "You have to listen to this shit now because I'm tired of the Empire Strikes Back soundtrack, you freaking dork." And that's what sent me on my journey. The first one that kind of took with me was the Police, Ghost in the Machine. I love that album. I was, wow, what the hell? They had graffiti in the subway. Okay, this is from another monster, Nerdrotic. They had graffiti in the subway. Frodo lives. They did? That's cool. That's cool. That I did not know. Thoughts on Mr. Bombadil, says Bubblegum number 8. Bombadil that's a weird chapter, man. I gotta admit, I think it's a wise choice to keep it out of the radio series, the BBC radio series, and the movie. Absolutely, it would have just nobody would have. I mean, I honestly don't understand. I think Tolkien, somebody might have stuck something in his pipe during the writing of that. I don't understand. Now I know Bombadil might be the remnants of, the remnants of the Song of Creation. All right, so the Song of Creation is what created the world of Middle Earth, and he might be just like a leftover song, or he might be kind of like an Ent. He is the forest. That's the way I kind of see it, as he is the forest. So he's like Treebeard. They're the same character, in my opinion. My mind might change on that one, but he's also a Deus Ex Machina for Frodo when they're on the Barrow Downs. Now, I wish they would have done the Barrowites. That would have been freaking cool. And so Lord of the Rings, folks, if you don't know, I am no freaking Tom Shippey. I am no Men of the West. I am not a scholar on this stuff. As I've said on my Star Trek stuff and with everything, I like a lot of things. I take in a lot of information. I love A Song of Ice and Fire. I love Doctor Who. I love Lord of the Rings. I love Marvel Comics. I love Star Trek. I'm into some things more than others, but I'm not an expert in any of them because I don't know. I haven't buried myself. I don't have the attention span for that. I like too much stuff. Why? I don't know. Why put all your fandom eggs in one basket? Why not like all the good stuff? That's what I do. And there's stuff I haven't, discovered, like Farscape. I discovered it way late in the game, and I freaking love it now. When I first heard of it, when it was on the air, I thought it was dumb. I'm like, puppets? Get the fuck out of here. But I end up loving it. I was wrong. See, I can admit I'm wrong. When Buffy first came out, I'm like, that looks lame as hell. And then, I got into it in the later seasons. And then now it's one of my favorite all-time shows. So yeah, I'm not an expert in anything, but but the cool thing is that way you can learn more. The older I get, and when I'm not talking all the time on the internet, I can get through the Silmarillion, which is tough to get through. I have to admit, but I'm digging it more and more. So Bombadil. Tom Bombadil, if you don't know, is a weird character that Frodo, Sam, Pippin, and Merry come across on their way to Bree. Before they get to Bree, the inn of the prancing pony, a lot of shit happens. They run into Tom Bombadil, and they end up at the Barrow Downs, which is these mounds. So yeah, that's where I was going. Is Lord of the Rings was not written as fantasy, it was written as mythology. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Those of you in the UK, was it the Saxons or the Normans? I kicked out of 3 high schools, but whoever conquered you back in the day, basically destroyed all your mythology because it was all verbal. It was all it was verbal mythology. Nothing was written down. Obviously, it was oral mythology. So Tolkien decided to write mythology for the UK. That's why when Lord of the Rings is made by Amazon, they need to keep that in mind, because that's what Peter Jackson did. And what this is a mythology for the UK, for Europe, for specifically the United Kingdom, for England. But apparently you can mess with that mythology, but you can't mess with any other mythology. And that's the way I'd see it. Of course, they're going to mess with that, and that's fine. But that's why it's got such a real feel to it. Now, some stuff like Bombadil is way the F out there, but, and you also, the more you learn, the more you might learn how much George borrowed for A Song of Ice and Fire, and the Barrow-wights are cool. And, I love the Nazgul. The Nazgul are, and you guys know this because you saw the movie, but it's horrific what they are. If you really think about it, it's freaking horrific. So you might have been a good guy back in the day, but you got tempted by Sauron the Deceiver, and you put on the ring, and then you turned invisible, and you are now under his complete control. You're a slave to his will for all time. Forever. And all you do is search for the ring, hunger for the ring. Even if you don't want to, all your will is gone. And that is horrific if you think about it. That is some dark shit. And it's also very cool. And we don't know who, I mean, like some people suspect, but we don't know who these kings were. Some, not all were kings, I believe. Some were kings of men. Some were sorcerers. Now, the Witch King of Angmar is one, and but that's probably what the TV show was going to be about. My guess is it was going to be about maybe Sauron the Deceiver, and well, no, because it was going to be after the destruction of Numenor, right? So maybe it was later than that, but that would have been cool to see if it was done right. If it was done right. I'm trying to go off of memory here on some of this stuff too. But that's my thoughts on Bombadil. I'm fine with it in the book. I read the chapter, but it's not my favorite. It is most definitely not my favorite. It's very hippy-dippy. But the hippies probably like Bombadil quite a bit. But Fog on the Barrow Downs, that one I like. Because Frodo, uses sheer will to escape them. Now they are basically, are they wraiths? They're wraiths, I think. They're ghosts of possibly men or orcs. We're not sure. and they lure you to sleep and put a sword on your chest, and yeah, they'll kill you. And they had to be saved by Tom Bombadil, and he sang a little song, and he saved them. I hope they focus on Melkor in the first age. David, that would be brilliant. Seeing Balrogs running around, that would be so badass. The Balrogs, yes. So, yeah, I would like to see Sauron the Deceiver. That's what I would like to see. But that was prior to him. That was when he still could. Sauron could change his form because he looked like an elf at one point, and he also could be a vampire bat with big old freaking werewolves, and that would be badass to see. But I think the way they were telling it on the OneRing.net, that they were filming a scene with water tanks, and that leads me to believe that they probably did a prologue, at least, of the destruction of Numenor. So Numenor is like the Atlantis of Lord of the Rings, and it's where the men of the men of the West come from, and some of them sailed away and were saved. But yeah, and it was because of Sauron. He's just such a, you know what? He's a hater. Let's get to you guys. Toxic Man Flu, welcome to the Geloja level. I welcome you. Cheers. I thank you for joining up. So, in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. Oh, I probably should read that. You know what? I was trying to learn it in the Black Speech, but I'm not there yet. Shaun of the Geek for $2.79. Oh God, you think I would know it off the top of my head? I know most of it off the top of my head. 3 for the elves. It's that beginning that gets me all the time. Hang on. One Ring speech. Boop, 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 boop. I'll cheat. But I'd love to learn it in Black Speech. I can try it. Hang on. Once it comes up. I have to read it when it's in Black Speech, though. And now it doesn't want to work. Oh, it's just that one website. What the hell's going on? It's disconnected. Whatever. So there it is. There it is. Okay. What the hell? Nosh. Oh boy. Is it? See, I can't see it. Hang on. There we go. So it's Nosh Derbatuluk. Nosh Gimbal Tool. Nosh Thratu. Wait, is it? Thrak Atuluk. Bujum Ishi Crimble Tool. There we go. And that's just one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. But 3 for the elves in the sky, 7 for the dwarves in their halls of stone, 9 for men who doomed to die, and 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. There we go. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. Can't forget that one. Even S for $1.99. Hail, Gary, why does Hollywood hate blonde men? Because blonde men were the symbol of the bad guys in Yahtzees, and they were idealized for a long time, but that was like many, many years ago. And I think it's more than just blonde men. I think I don't want to go out and say they hate men. They want men to step aside. They want men to stop acting like men. They are trying to literally go against nature at this point. We are now being quite frankly, we're being discriminated against something we have no control over. Our testosterone, a chemical we are born with. Apparently, that is evil. The problem is, Evan, it's men running with this narrative. So it makes you wonder, why would they do that? Well, generally, it's because they've got something to hide. They're trying to project. They're trying to distract. I don't know. But there is a definitive narrative and agenda that's out in the open that we're fighting every day, and it gets tiresome. It gets fucking tiresome. I mean, I'm fine, don't worry. But there's so much of it in Picard, and then they get it mixed up. They're too dumb to get their woke right, to be honest with you. The Price is Right review. Thank you for the $1.99. The Price is Right review for $10. Kapla, my man. Always a pleasure seeing your streams. Be careful with your anti-SJW rants now, or Marvel will make you the next arch enemy and their new warriors. What would your name? What would I name myself? What would I name myself? I'll have to get back to you on that one. I mean, Toxic Man is too on the nose. But I would be the Patriot Arkle. There we go. The Patriot Arkle. There, run with that one. Stellar Heather for $2. Star Wars will always be my first love, but I love Lord of the Rings more. And that's where I'm at, Stellar Heather. It's kind of like, well, your first time compared to, your partner. That's the way it is. Star Wars, we had some good memories. We had some good times. But you know what? You haven't been that faithful to me. You've treated me bad. You've gone around on my back. You've put knives in my back. And now, I mean, it's Star Wars kind of switched teams. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a wife who got a girlfriend. Nothing well, yeah, there is something wrong with that if it was your wife and she didn't break up with you first or something like that. But that's the way it is. It's like your partner switched teams on you. That's what it is. Zero Duality. Thank you for becoming a member at the proto-molecule level. I appreciate you. And we will have a member stream Thursday. Don't know the time yet, but pay attention to the community section, Zero Duality. I like that name, by the way. I really do. Do you think there's actually zero duality, though? Good question. Luca Blight, $69.69 for $10. Princess Rap Battles needs to update her Galadriel versus Leia. That Star Wars no longer pretends 3 films don't exist, but they pretend that 6 films don't exist. Yes. Galadriel versus Leia. Now, that's a tough one. Princess Leia is pretty brilliant. Galadriel, though, is Cate Blanchett. So she wins because she's hot. And you know what? I love Cate Blanchett. I do. And for you culture warriors, she's one of the people who came out and said, called bullshit on people saying that only gay actors can play gay parts and only this actor can play that part. That's bullshit. She says, no, you're an actor. You act. That's what you do. Props for that. Now, I'm sure she's been a giant, elitist type anywhere else, but she did say that. Props to that. But listen, Carrie Fisher was brilliant in every way. You know what? I doubt she was a bleeding heart SJW. I bet you Carrie Fisher was probably tougher than frickin' Hamill and Ford put together. And she had a lot of demons that I can definitely identify with, and it's sad what happened to her, but she also, Postcards from the Edge was a pretty freaking good book. So I have nothing bad to say about Carrie Fisher. I'm sorry she was put through the ringer with the stupid Star Wars movies. Did Carlo Baskin kill her husband? Did Carol Baskin kill her husband? Oh my God, is that freaking... hang on. Are we talking about that freaking cat thing? Yes. Okay. I know everybody in the world is watching the tiger people thing. I'm not. I'm just flat out not. I'm sure I'll watch it someday. Mrs. Nerdrotic's watching it right now. I think she's on the 4th episode. Talked to Jeremy earlier. He's watching it. You don't want to hear what I have to say about it. I'll probably end up watching it, but I don't want to offend anybody. Shakin, did Carol Baskin? She just looks guilty to me. That's all I'm gonna say. I know kind of what's up because Melissa's been telling me. Like, I mean, she's like, I'm like, I thought it was a fake documentary, but is it real? I mean, I don't know. It's white trash is fascinating. And listen, all I have to do is go visit some of my relatives if I want to watch some of that stuff. Straight up mullets and trucks and brr, yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I come from a long line of whiskey tango. I do. Can't you tell? But I would say sure. Yeah, she looks guilty. Benjamin Flensborg is a member at the proto-molecule level. Welcome, Benjamin. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. An aristocratic society ain't bad, Gary. No. I think we need rich people. We do need rich people. I do not hate rich people. I think the world needs to have them. I think it's part of our system. As far as, especially Bezos, I don't have anything bad to say about Bezos other than he owns a paper that took a direct shot at the Phantom Menace, which I was pissed about, and I did a live stream on it, but I doubt he knew much about it. Listen, though, Jeff Bezos created 100,000 jobs when we needed them. So yeah, no, I have no problem. I hope people do not think I'm some kind of socialist or anything like that, because I'm not. I am not. I am for this thing. No. I really like meritocracy. And I came, just personal story here, story time. I came from a middle class family. My dad did pretty well, but I was kicked out of my house at a very early age. And I was on my own for a long time. So I personally was dirt poor. I was homeless. I had a lot of problems as a kid. I went through a lot of strife. And I learned how to get out of that on my own. Now, of course, I had help of friends, support, but no real financial support. I started at $200 to where I am today. $200, a pair of pants, a t-shirt, shoes with no socks, and nothing else to where I am today. Now that was a journey of, since 1994, so 26 years, something like that. I believe in meritocracy, and I didn't get it with any privilege, or actually I had things going against me and worked around them. And it's very rewarding. And I try to pass it on in recovery because I'm a grateful recovering addict and alcoholic. And it sucks that I can't go to any meetings right now, but there's online meetings. Twirly Wolf for $4.99. What's your take on the Bakshi version? The Bakshi version. That's the animated version, right? I like it a lot. I like it for what it was. The only thing I don't like is the Balrog that looks like a dude, and because it's all rotoscope, right? So it looks like a guy in a suit with a freaking garbage bag. It looks terrible. But otherwise, I loved it. And when I was a kid, I freaking loved it. I didn't care this stuff was rotoscope. I was obsessed with Fire and Ice and Wizards, and I never knew the guy's name who made him, believe it or not. But when I was younger, I watched the shit out of those, and I had them on VHS, and I would smoke a lot of bowls and watch that shit and love it. Fire and Ice was my favorite, but I like Wizards a lot too. And Heavy Metal, of course. I watched Heavy Metal all the time. It's one of my favorite all-time movies because it had a half-naked girl swinging around a sword. There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. We need more of that. It actually makes the world a better place. It does. Phantom Boomer thank you, Twirly Wolf. What's your take on it? You can just answer in the chat. Yeah, I know some people hated rotoscope, and I heard that at the time. People hated it at the time. I was okay with it. I mean, I have very fond memories of it. It's still cheesy looking, but I have very fond memories of rotoscope. I always wanted them to do a superhero rotoscope. I was like, why don't they do an Avengers rotoscope or a Fantastic Four? Like, do Kirby-like art over it and do rotoscope? That would be badass. I would love it. I know it would look cheesy to some people, but I think it would look great. I was introduced to Lord of the Rings via National Lampoon's spoof of it, Board of the Rings. Well, that might not be the best introduction. It is so not boring. It is, God, it's not boring at all. I love rich worlds, and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings both do that. The original trilogy, by the way, the first two do a brilliant job of that. Fact of the matter is, and we got to be real about something now. I am a OG Star Wars fan. I am a fan from the 70s. I was 7 years old when I saw it for the first time. It changed my life. Never saw anything like it. It was so far ahead. The only way I could explain it is it was like watching a movie made in 2050 now. That's the only way you can explain it. I can't really, when you walk out of the theater the first time you're watching Star Wars, you're like, wow, I can't believe I saw that. I feel like I saw a real world like flashing in front of me. And then the soundtrack was, it was amazing. I can't put that to Lord of the Rings. I'm sure there was a younger kid who saw Lord of the Rings and might have felt the same way or might have been bored by it. But, honestly, that was the first two movies. And then Empire, to me, leveled up. It did something completely different. But it didn't subvert the characters. And then Return of the Jedi kind of took a step back. Return of the Jedi, to me, is half a masterpiece and half a not-so-good movie. All the Luke and Emperor and Vader stuff is golden. It's brilliant. That last scene where he's all, your sister, and he's all, no! Oh my God, I can admit it now. When I was 13, tears were rolling down my eyes. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my God. And of course, you're 13 and with your bros, so you can't have them seeing that, right? So your head is just like straight ahead. You don't turn around. They were probably weeping too, but you don't turn around and you just like, make sure nobody's looking. You're all like that, right? Yeah, that whole scene, but got me when I was 13. But then there was, puppets and shit. They didn't look very good. And the special effects, and a lot of you haven't seen, or maybe some of you have seen the original. If you watch Return of the Jedi, the original one, the effects in the daytime were trash. They were terrible. They were god awful. And listen, that's part of the charm now. But the sand barge, oh, that looks so bad. And there was a whole scene where the Emperor Palpatine must have had a makeup smudge on his hood, and you could see where they blacked it out. There's something like that in Lord of the Rings too, though. There is a scene like that in Lord of the Rings where Gandalf is talking to Frodo when they're going up Khazad-dûm on their way to Moria. And Gandalf's beard is all blurred out right here. So something must have happened to his beard, so they blurred it all out. And so there's a very similar scene in Fellowship of the Rings. But goddamn. There's some scenes in Return of the Jedi that were just, oh. And you're like, I remember watching it getting frustrated going, no, you cannot not stick the landing. This has been my life. And honestly, it was my life. To a 13-year-old, it was almost half my life. It was half my life. And I'm like, you cannot do this to me. So I was in denial about it for a good long time. But I adore the, a lot of people hate the Ewoks, but the music, I love the little Ewok march and stuff. So that was fucking solid. It's good stuff. But that's a good question. What's a better soundtrack, Lord of the Rings or Star Wars? That's where you gonna have to give it to Williams. I can't knock it. Lord of the Rings soundtrack is beautiful, and it's long, and it's right up there with the best, but yeah, I can't say. John Williams is like the Beatles of composers, or maybe the Beatles are the John Williams of rock. Should I say that? I should probably say that. That being said, though, I listen to Lord of the Rings of the soundtrack more. I do. I told you watching of the Gotham High will bring inner Romulan cloak and dagger, says Benjamin Flensborg. Flensborg, how you doing up there? How you doing in Europe? How's Europe doing, Benjamin? Let me know. For 50 Danish krona, Gotham High, for one, was, and you know what? Honestly, I completely forgot this. I did know it at one time, but I completely spaced it. And I watched Jeff's video. So good on Jeff at World Class Bullshitters. That was an animated series pitch. And if you go to that interview, what's her name acts like she came up with the idea. And you know what? She probably did. Think about it. She probably did. And I state this in the video. You're getting a little bit of a preview. But political correctness is social tyranny. They were probably terrified to tell her that the idea had already been thought up. So they probably just went, sure, we'll roll with it. I won't say anything bad about you because you might call me an ist and get me fired from my job during these times. Yeah. Oh, I got something fun at the end of the video. So I hope you do tune in. I believe I'm going to release it at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The Picard review Thursday, Friday morning. I don't know. There are moments I want to just stop and say, screw it. I don't care. I have to admit there are, but then I dive through because I just need to get inspired. I go on Twitter and one of the morons inspires me and I go back to it, but Picard's sad. It's sad. It's pathetic. It's pathetically sad. It's pathetically sad that people defend it. You know what? You need a baseline. You need to know what's good, and Lord of the Rings is your baseline. You know what? Even people who hate Lord of the Rings, and there are people who hate Lord of the Rings, most people respect it. Not all, though. Now, it's okay. You could still be my friend if you hate Lord of the Rings, but you have to like Big Trouble in Little China. There's got to be some kind of balance somewhere, But if you don't like Lord of the Rings and Big Trouble in Little China and Star Wars and you like Star Trek Discovery, I don't know what we're going to have in common. I don't know. I won't hate you as a person. I just don't know what we'll have in common. A different actor originally cast as Aragorn. On one Stuart Townsend, not a bad actor, but gravitas was probably missing in comparison to Viggo Mortensen. Robert Flores, I did not know that. And that would have been terrible. It would have been terrible. Let me tell you something about Viggo Mortensen. He's in 2 movies I like a lot, and I couldn't stand him as an actor. I don't know why. It's not like I have anything against him personally. And it's changed since then. Okay, get me wrong. But before that, he was in, God, what movie was he in? He was in some damn 90s movie. I was thinking it was The Game, but it's not The Game. I forgot what it was. And I couldn't stand him. It's like Scott Bakula. I've never liked the actor Scott Bakula. I don't know why. He just annoys me. And there's another one too. I'm blanking on his name. But at least Viggo won me over with Aragorn. He was great as Aragorn and completely different because, Aragorn is bombastic and run. Viggo's like a quiet freaking kid of a hippie. He was born, I think he grew up in Costa Rica and his parents were hippies, but he did a brilliant job. No, Viggo was the shit in that movie. Absolutely. Oh my God. I'm blanking on his name now. The guy from The Blacklist. James Spader. James Spader. Can't stand James Spader. Cannot stand him. Absolutely can't stand him. And I'm sure you guys have an actor who just like you see him and you're like, eh. And James Spader he played that douchey 80s yuppie perfectly, like too perfectly, and I just couldn't stand him. But I changed my mind on Vigo. That's weird. I didn't know that. Just join. Is there something new with Lord of the Rings? Prepper Chris 1, no. And that's going to be the conundrum for YouTubers, including yours truly, in about a month when there ain't much to talk about. There'll be stuff to talk about, though. Once you think there isn't enough to talk about, there's something to talk about. And there's always reviews you need to catch up on, and that's what I will do. If there's ever a big blank spot on my schedule, then I'll just start reviewing old stuff. No problem. I can finish my Star Trek Discovery Season 2 review that I started months ago and didn't finish. I could do that. But nothing new, which is good news, Prepper Chris. That is good news. Nettled Nerds for $2. Technically, they're all one movie with 3 characters. Star Wars, you mean? Nettled Nerds? Star Wars? Yes. No. With 3 characters. Answer in the chat. Are you talking about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? There's a lot more than 3 characters. Lord of the Rings. A lot more. It's too bad they failed with The Hobbit. It is. I like The Hobbit, except for the complete cucking out of Legolas. And it probably should have just been 2 movies. But I liked some of it, and I own them, and they're fine. And I think I would rather watch The Hobbit than the prequels any day. The only thing I like about the Star Wars prequels is the novelization of Revenge of the Sith. That is really good. Cannot recommend it enough. If they would have been able to adapt that properly, oh my God, that would have been the 3rd best Star Wars film easily. Maybe the 2nd best Star Wars film. And if you've read the novelization, you know what I'm talking about. It gets into Anakin's head, and you see the struggle. You finally feel that struggle. Actually, the whole prequel trilogy should have been Revenge of the Sith. It should have just been that. And you see that he saw Palpatine as a father figure, and these dickhead Jedis who didn't want him around all of a sudden want him to betray his dad. Screw you. Now, I know that what was going on in the film, but I never felt it. I never bought into it. And it was because of the acting. And now we know that, the actors were just struggling with George's directing. And George would be, he directed the film like a billionaire. He sat down. He wasn't that hungry anymore. Eating his cafeteria food, and that's great. The one good thing that might come out of all of this is George might get Star Wars back. I wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibility right now. When we have idiots like Dana Schwartz still attacking fans within the last 48 hours, I hope she realizes that her show might not get made. Believe it or not, Netflix renewed a show yesterday. They renewed a show. And it was an okay show. I actually saw it. Lock and Key. Lock and Key it's a decent comic book. The art's really good. But the writing is pretty good. Joe King's all right, Nothing bad to say about it. Made me a lot of money. They do, IDW has done some very good binding with those. I like the slipcase books they've done. Has been pretty good. But the series was really grounded, wasn't fantastical. And the girl in the well and just the constant gender swapping of characters that irritates the shit out of me. But it was okay. The kid acting was pretty good. And the brother and the sister were the best. It was okay. So I guess I'm glad it got a 2nd season. I didn't hate it, but it was very mediocre to me. Technically, thank you again, Nettle Nerds. Blue-Eyed Scorpio for $1.99. Hey, favorite Gary. Hey, I am glad to be your favorite Gary. Now, I might be the only Gary you know, but I'll take it. I'll take it. King Theoden thanks you. For Theolinge! Gary, I did call the thing. I'm sorry, stay safe, brother. Prepper Chris. What did you call it? It's okay. You could call it, I mean, like, people are going to say it in here. YouTube needs to chill out on that, by the way. They just need to effing chill out. People are going to say the thing. I'm just going to call it Voldemort, so the thing that shall not be named. But it's okay. You don't have to apologize about anything. Prepper Chris, thanks for being here. I thank you. The Price is Right review for $10. My favorite Tolkien character, honestly, is Thorin Oakenshield. I was watching a theory video and want your take on it. What if Thorin survived the Battle of the Five Armies? What would Lord of the Rings have been if he lived? Well, that's a butterfly effect. If he had lived, Sauron could have won. We don't know the effects of that. But if he was around, it depends on what Thorin we would get. Now, for those of you who don't know, Thorin Oakenshield was, he was in The Hobbit. He was the centerpiece of The Hobbit. And he dies, unfortunately. It's a very sad death. Even in the Hobbit films, it's very sad. And it's a tale of redemption. It's an awesome tale of redemption. And the dwarves live longer than humans. They live about, almost 300 years. Hobbits live longer, too. Hobbits live about 130 years, roughly. So Thorin was pretty old. But what happened to his both his grandsire and his sire were fucking horrific. But if Thorin would have lived, it would have been brilliant to see, but we wouldn't have gotten Gimli with Legolas. And what they didn't explain in the movie is why Legolas was even there. He was there because in the books, Aragorn captures Gollum. So they briefly go over it in the movie. You see Gollum getting tortured in Mordor, and he rats out Bilbo Baggins. Now, the reason he has to get tortured for it is because Gollum doesn't want to tell Sauron that Bilbo has the ring, because Gollum wants the ring back. So he wasn't trying to protect Bilbo, but he gets tortured horribly, and he is the one character who actually sees Sauron in the books. And apparently Sauron was corporeal because he saw his hand, and his hand was missing the fingers, at least according to Gollum. But you don't see him. And so he ends up escaping or being let go, and it really depends. You get so much more background on Gollum, and it's really a sad story. I mean, he was bad kind of from the beginning, but he was obsessed with digging and the roots of things, and that's how he ended up in the caves of the Misty Mountains, and you have to go over that. But he gets caught eventually. Gandalf ends up looking for him, and he can't find him, so that's where he enlists Aragorn. He was one of the Rangers and his buddy, and that's how he gets into the story. And he ends up catching Gollum in the Dead Marshes, and not being very nice to him. And then he took him to the Elves of Mirkwood, which that's where Legolas is, and his pops, played by Lee Pace. And he's able to escape there eventually. Gollum escapes. And then he heads back. So he's looking for Bilbo, but for some reason he heads back to Sauron. So Sauron is able to draw all evil things to him with some kind of spell or his will. So anything that's evil just feels the need to go south to Mordor. So that's why Gollum was looking for the ring, but he's like, it keeps pulling back down there. It's fucking kind of cool. But yeah, I know which one you're talking about, Price is Right review. You're talking about the Men of the West, which is a very, very good channel. Highly recommend it if you like good. I love theory. Is it theory crafting? Is that what they call it? I don't like that term. Theory videos. I like them a lot. And I'm a big fan of Preston Jacobs for A Song of Ice and Fire. And here, I'll tell you who I'm sub to as far as theory. It's only a couple. I used to be sub to Alt Shift X until he pushed a pro-communist book, and then I wasn't. So if we go to my subs, and we're going to go down here, I am subbed to, God, a lot of people. I am sub to a lot of people. I'm sub to a Battlestar Galactica channel that just puts up Battlestar Galactica clips once a day. Love it. I'm subbed to Cecil. Clownfish TV. Where are my theory videos? So Preston Jacobs, and I wanted to get his channel right because I know it was, Quinn's Ideas. It used to be Ice and Fire or something like that. Quinn's Ideas. That's a Song of Ice and Fire one. That's a good channel. I like that one a lot too. And of course, the Men of the West. That's my go-to Lord of the Rings channel. And OneRing.net. Those guys are really good. That's actually a website I used to go to way back in the day when the movies were coming out. And honestly, I'd forgotten about them for a while until I found out they had a YouTube channel, and I watch their stuff now. And it's good. Those guys are good. I mean, listen, it's one of those channels that's just all Lord of the Rings. They're very pro Lord of the Rings, and kind of like the Star Trek channels do. Not my thing, but I enjoy watching it. Magonis for $2. Let's hear you read Theoden's speech from the book. Which one? Which one? I'd be happy to do it. The one where he's talking to Saruman. Will we have peace like we once did, you and I? Hang on. Because that's one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites, but I gotta get, here we go. Here we go. Hang on. I get a drink, a little coffee. Now, I want you to imagine Saruman as Gail Simone. Now, I did this on Friday Night Tights, too. Shall we not take counsel as we once did? Shall we not have peace? Sorry, with Saruman, I'm going to do the Saruman from the BBC radio series where he has this very soothing voice. So he's all, shall we not take counsel as we once did? Shall we not have peace? And then Theoden, we shall have peace. We shall have peace when you answer for the burning of the West Fold, when you answer for the children who lie dead on the plains, for the soldiers who were hewn even as they lay dead. We shall have peace when you hang from a gibbet for the sport of your own crows. Gibbets and crows dotard! And what do you want, Gandalf? The key of Orthanc? Or perhaps the key of Barad-dûr itself? And the crowns of the 7 kings and the rods of the 5 wizards? Sorry. That's where we found out there was 5 wizards. You got to wonder what the hell those other wizards were doing. We know what Radagast was doing. Radagast the Brown, who Sylvester McCoy did a great job, by the way. I would love to have an action figure of that with the bird poop and all on his head. Where the hell were the Blue Wizards? What the hell were they doing? Now, there are theories that they were not good. Like they might have gone, or they were fighting against the Easterlings. And that's going to be problematic, isn't it, folks? The Easterlings. How are you going to portray them? Now, there's a very easy way to portray them. It's the same way that if you guys ever listen to the audiobook of A Song of Ice and Fire. So A Song of Ice and Fire doesn't just have white folk in it. It actually has a lot of brown folk in it. From the Summer Islanders to the Dornish, but there's a Dornish droll. So in the audiobook, it's the Dornish droll is European. They just make it European. Or Roy Dotrice, the late great Roy Dotrice. If you don't, Roy Dotrice does the audiobooks for A Song of Ice and Fire. He was also in Beauty and the Beast, the TV show. He does the Dornish droll is kind of European. It's kind of cool. That's how you do it. You just, do whatever you want. The thing is, with the Lord of the Rings TV show, I'll be understanding because we're gonna get inclusive elves, which is fine. I don't care. And inclusive hobbits, which is fine. I don't care. And apparently they were going like the full-on forced perspective thing. So they were kind of going back to Peter Jackson's original thing, which is great. We're going to get more dwarves. What really sucks is, I'm forgetting his name now, the actor who backed out was probably going to play a young Elrond. And he looked like him. I'm like, oh, damn, he looked like him. He really did. He did. But yeah, I love that speech. Or there's the other one. Is this the hour where we draw swords together? Now, on my Patreon, I just did a Song of Ice and Fire prologue review, and I had so much fun doing it. I'm going to do more. And it was kind of easy because it was just audio. I don't have to do anything in front of camera. So I will do a lot more of that. Now I can make them into videos, and I'll throw up some images and stuff, but I'll give you some production value. Is this it? Oh, yes. Let this be the hour where we draw swords together, fell deeds awake, for wrath, for ruin, and the red dawn, for Theolinge. Then Gimli all, brrr. Fuck yeah. It fires me up. My favorite one, though, is when when they're at the Battle of Pelennor Fields, and he's smacking all the spears with his sword, and he's just screaming, death! That fires me up, man. 1 year at a Charger game, they played that. The Chargers were playing the Raiders. And it was like the beginning of the fourth quarter. They were down by 7, and they fired that thing up on the big screen. The people went fucking ape shit. It was so great. And they never did it again. I wonder if they got busted doing it. But yeah, they had Theoden's little speech, and the Chargers came back and won. That was a good game. It was cool. Can't remember what year it was, though. I think it was 2007 is the year we should have gone to the Super Bowl, but then one of our defensive backs intercepted a ball from Tom Brady, and instead of just going right down, he fumbled the goddamn thing. Oh, makes me so mad. Sorry, didn't mean to talk about sports ball. Freaking moron. All he had to do was fall. All he had to do was go down. Go down. We win the game. Intercepted Brady like 5 times that game. I know, it's Jeremy's boyfriend, Brady. My wife does his mom's hair, by the way. Where I lost you guys now. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. Benjamin Flensborg. Man, Benjamin. Thank you. Thank you again, Magonus, for $2. Benjamin Flensborg for 200 Danish krona. And no, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. The gray rain curtain of this world rolls back,
and it all turns to silver glass, and then you see it. See what? Wait, I got to get the rest of that, man. Hang on. I got to get the rest of it. It's like golden shores. Ah, I love that scene. Yep. Hang on. White shores and beyond, a far green country under a swift sunrise. Well, that isn't so bad. No. No, it isn't. Goosebumps. Freaking Tolkien. I love that guy, man. The best. It's the best. There's nothing like that. Star Wars, you get goosebumps moments in Star Wars, mostly from Han Solo. And just, it's good fun. But I don't know. There's something introspective about Lord of the Rings that cannot be equaled. It's this fantasy tale that feels real, that feels lived in. And, how sad were you all? See, when Star Wars ends, when Return of the Jedi ended, there was a fair amount of sadness that the trilogy was over, but it was pretty uplifting. And, maybe because I was 13, I didn't feel, I was happy it was over. And, it's like, oh no more Star Wars. But I got over it quick, man. At the end of Lord of the Rings, it's like, oh, it's over. Oh no, I want more. I don't care for that. Give me another 17 endings. Give me the battle for the Shire. I don't care. No, that would have been terrible. But you feel like a loss because you were on this journey for so long. Imagine if they had actually released it 2 or 3 years apart. Now, I'm glad they didn't, but I think if they did, it would have been, it was still a cultural phenomenon, but it would have been a much bigger cultural phenomenon. Part of what made Star Wars so popular was those 3-year breaks. Those 3-year breaks, for one, man, at the end of Empire, to a 10-year-old, 3 years, you're like, I'm going to be 13 when the next movie comes out. I'm going to be in 7th grade. Am I even going to care about Star Wars anymore? Of course I did. But these were questions I asked myself. Yes. I was worried. I wouldn't care anymore. Sir Michael the Tall for $4.99. It's a dangerous business going outside your door. You step onto a road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no telling where you'll be swept off to. Now, I got to remember the tributary. I don't know what a tributary is. So Frodo used to tell me a road. There's only one road, and your path is like a tributary. I don't even know what that word is. Hang on. One road. Yes. Bilbo used to often say that there was only one road. It was like a great river. Its springs were every doorstep, and every path its tributary. It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door, he used to say. That's right. And then there's all the songs. The road goes. The road is probably the best one, but I don't know. I kind of like the stuff in The Hobbit too. I thought that was really good. But Durin's song is when Gimli basically reads that. He recites it in Moria in the radio version, and it's freaking great. So, trivia question here for the chat. You win the no prize first person who answers. Who plays Samwise Gamgee in the Lord of the Rings BBC radio drama? It's a big time actor. I believe he was nominated for an Academy Award in the early 2000s. I could be wrong on this one. Best Supporting Actor for Love Actually. That's a major hint. which is by the way, a movie I like a lot. Okay, I'm not afraid to admit I'm a big fan of Love Actually. I want Gary to read the beginning of the poem. Okay, I will read it. I will read it. You ask and you shall receive. No cheating, no Google. I saw you. It's a 3-page long poem. I could read the beginning. No, I don't want the definition. I want the poem. Here, I got to get to see you guys answer the question. Who answered the question? Yes. Nope. Idris Elba. Yes, you got it right. Who was the first? Not Sean Penn. Who said Bill Nye? I saw somebody say Bill Nye down there. Yes, Bill Nye. Bill Nye is the answer. Bill Nye, not Nicolas Cage, Jason. Unlike Samwise, yeah! Bill Nye plays Samwise Gamgee. That's right. SJWs can never take the Silmarillion from me. No, they won't, because they would have to read it. And unless you can make a Funko Pop out of it or a book where, like an alternative press expo book where everybody's like a boxy dog or something like that, yeah, they won't read it. I'm not a big fan of CalArts books. Never been a big fan of alternative press expo zines and stuff like that. I just, nah. Been working long hours last few weeks. Thanks for the wind down stream. Have an iced Pete's on me for the chill stream. Why, thank you, Toxic Man Flu. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to throw these in once a week. Okay. I don't know what time. It'll be at night for sometimes during the day, but like, dude, I'll be on it. I'm going to be full of piss and vinegar tomorrow, but tonight I just wanted to chill. We need to just calm things down once in a while. It's all right. We're going to be all right. It's going to be a different world, but we're going to be all right. Now, for the ones who won't be, we're going to be thinking about them. And hopefully we help each other out. That's my hope. But hope is not a strategy. Meow Lathotep for $10. Thank you, Meow Lathotep. Is that like, are you Bubba Hotep's cat? Thank you. There's no comment there. Bill Durkin for $10. Do you listen to the best podcast in the universe, No Agenda, with Adam Curry and John C. Devork? If not, I think you would like it. Is that, I would call, I don't know if it's the best podcast in the universe to me. What's the best podcast? I mean, besides mine? No, I don't think mine's the best in the universe. Never heard of it. Adam Curry from MTV? Did he, yeah, I'll listen to that, especially if I see his, the first thing that popped up was Adam Curry on the Great Vape Scare. Yeah, that vape stuff is bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. That is, that, we'll do that. I'll do that on Nerdrotic Live someday. Absolute horse bleep. The thing is, I'll get serious for one moment here. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna state the obvious here, okay? But I really mean it, because a lot of us still watch mainstream media news. Absolutely nothing they say is free of agenda. Zero. There is money, power, or deceit behind every single thing that they read off that teleprompter. I mean, seriously, I do not watch 1 nanosecond of it. You're not being informed. You're being lied to. You're being manipulated. It's fucking propaganda. There's other places where you can get the truth, and it's generally real folk. There is no outlet that is honest that has any kind of corporate backing anymore. And honestly, you got to find somebody here on YouTube. I mean, like, I'm not going to give you real news, but you need to find somebody here, more than one person, and double check everything. You have to do work. You have to do a lot of work to find the truth, but it is not coming from CNN, and I mean it. I would listen to one of my woo-woo UFO people before I would listen to CNN or MSNBC or NBC or ABC or CBS or Fox. Now, some are better than the others, and there's some people that are okay on these networks, but they're still being manipulated. And there might be people who work there that are trying, and they're doing their best. And honestly, I understand that if you are in that position and if you can get some information out, that's better than nothing. I understand that. Not everything's black and white with me, okay? But for the most part, stay away from that shit, really. And because I'll just save that for another day. We need to chill. But I will check that out. I didn't know Adam Curry was doing a podcast, and obviously it took me a second to recognize him. I'm like, oh, I used to stare at that guy's face like every day watching MTV because I used to watch it nonstop. Now, we didn't get it right away in SoCal. It was on for like a year before we got it. And then my dad refused to get cable for a long time because he was a cheap guy. My dad grew up super poor. All right. He grew up on a farm in South Dakota right after the Depression. His dad died when he was 6. He had an older brother who was 2 years older than him and a crippled mom, my grandma B, and they worked a farm. I know I've told this story before. And you want to talk about merit. He went from dirt poor to owning his own business because he worked his ass off for it. Privilege. There was no privilege. He had to go to the military and do all this crap. And yeah, he worked his butt off for that. And you know what? He appreciated money. He hoarded it like he did to his dying day. Bless his heart. But Pop Roddick was all right. I miss him a lot. He passed away in 2001. He died of cancer. Fuck cancer. Fuck cancer. Why not a series about the Blue Wizards? There was room. Well, no, this was in the Second Age. So the series was definitely, I would watch that for sure. Miguel Olmo for $1.99. If you're pitching that, dude, I'm in. The show was supposed to take place late in the Second Age, maybe. So I think leading up to the first War of the Ring. And we'd have Isildur. I think that would have been interesting to see for sure. But it's still a prequel, you know? And yeah, it's fine. But they weren't supposed to mess with Peter Jackson's stuff, which is great, or The Hobbit. But there was no wizards. There was no Astari there. Astari, right? Do you listen? But no, I have not listened to No Agenda, Bill Durkin, but I will try it on your suggestion. Thank you. Pepper Chris for $2. And thank you, Miguel. Thank you for the $1.99. Hell yeah. I would watch something on the Blue Wizards. I'm curious. Since Star Who, Trek, and comics, what will you do? Prepper Chris I will read my old comics. I will watch old Star Trek. I will watch the hell out of old Doctor Who because it is fantastic. And if you guys, somebody just popped in a super chat a couple of days ago, said they watched Doctor Who for the first time. They checked out a Tom Baker Doctor Who and they freaking loved it. And that was music to my ears. Now, of course, I warned him not to watch anything past a certain amount, but you know, you can watch old Doctor Who. There are ways to watch it without giving the BBC money. You don't want to give them money. And as far as Star Trek, I don't think Star Trek's going to be around much longer to bother us, folks. As a matter of fact, let me check. Let me check in here. Checking my, see if I heard anything new. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's okay. Nothing new. It's just in bad shape. It's very bad shape. Kaz Devlin for $2. Cartoon Tolkien wears a whip. There's a whip. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Also, what did Aragon say? I can't remember now. God, I'm blanking on a lot of stuff. I'll think of it later. Back to you, chat. Colm costs for £2. I'm not going to argue with you at all on that one. He says 2000 AD, the best comic ever. Is it my all-time favorite? I don't know. My all-time favorite comics change all the time. But you pitch me 2000 AD, Judge Dredd. Yeah. I mean, arguably the best core group of talent put together since Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, John Romita. That was, holy shit, that stuff was good, man. And you can get the trades pretty cheap now. I remember at Comic-Con, they had like their big essentials, right? And they were like $14 and they were selling them for 10. Yeah, if you go to 2000 AD, the shop, holy shit. But I like the old school stuff. I don't know about any of their new stuff. But for sure the old stuff. Look at that. They got a digital guide, 50% off the digital guide right now. Oh, you can get a Judge Dredd badge. And it was available on the 21st. I wonder if they're still shipping them. Goddamn, yeah. Don't get me started. I'll start shopping on a live stream. That's not responsible right now. It's not very responsible. Thank you, Colmcost, for the £2. I love you have the man who laughs in your avatar there. That is cool. The inspiration for the Joker. God, that's still creepy. That's still the creepiest version. Period. End of story. Gary, stay safe. Watch the street poop. R.I.P. Picard. David A. Scovetta for $1.99. Well, I haven't seen a single piece of poop on the streets in 16 days. I haven't seen a homeless person on the street in 16 days. And I just got back from a walk right before the live stream started about an hour or so ago. The sun went down here a little after 8. It is currently almost 11 p.m. here on the west coast of the United States of America, wherever you are. I am in California. I'm in San Francisco. Nettle Nerds for $5. If you want to be sick, go to Josie's Doctor Who video, the emergency transmission one, and read comment makes me sick. I will do that tomorrow, Nettle Nerds. I will keep your super chat in mind. As a matter of fact, I'll screen cap it because we're going to be doing something Doctor Who-ish tomorrow. Okay. So I'll keep that in mind. I'm screen capping that right now, Nettle Nerds. And there we go. Let me save it real quick. It's not as easy. See, Mac does do the screen cap thing a lot better. A lot better. You could just... This, you have to save it at Paint. It's lame. Okay, we'll just say chat. There we go. Let's go back up here. James Harris. Hey, Gary. There are still many artists who want to do comics. Any thoughts on this for the post-Marvel period? Yes. It's going to be tough. I mean, this is going to sound terrible. Get extraordinarily good. It's this playtime stuff is over. I think you're going to probably have to start a platform, get your own thing going for a little while. It's dead. Like, it just doesn't know it yet. We're not going to have many publishers at all. Because it looks like, listen, here's what could happen, folks. We're pretty much on lockdown till June. So if the world pauses, if the entire world pauses, like nobody asks for rent from so-and-so and it gets paid for whatever, and we make it, comics ain't going to make it. Some publishers might make it. I don't know if it's going to be DC. I don't know if it's going to be Marvel. You might be surprised. Dark Horse might rise up and be the last comic book publisher, or Image. IDW ain't going to make it. Hell no. They got, they're living off of Lock and Key, but no way. So there'll be probably somebody new coming along. There'll be independent publishers. Of course, there is the Indiegogo and Kickstarter option. If you want to do that, I would try that. It depends on where you are with your art. But if you love it, James, if you truly love it, manga is the future, because that's going to be the strongest industry. It could take over completely, because that will always be a strong seller. But if you love it, James, if you love what you do, and thank you for the 500 yen, continue to do it by all means, because it's good for the soul. And if that's your priority, you're doing it because you love it and you're passionate about it, what comes. And it doesn't matter if you make your living off it or not. If it's something you like doing, draw comics. Nothing's stopping you. Lord Captain Commander Dune of the Queen's Guard. Done of the Queen's Guard for $4.99. If you like Lord of the Rings, the Perion Chronicles is a very good series. It's definitely not quite as good, but it is extremely satisfying. Hey, that's good. No, nothing's good as Lord of the Rings. Sorry, George. A Song of Ice and Fire is not as good as Lord of the Rings. It's good. But yeah, I'll check it out. Thank you, Lord Captain Commander. Brandon Sorensen for $5. Vigo was cast since he was older. The worst offense would have been if Sean Connery, great usually, kept the role of Gandalf. He kept saying bobbits. Yeah, I mean, he would have been terrible. No, Ian McKellen was born for that role. Absolutely born for it. He should have won the Academy Award for all three movies. It's a crime that he didn't win it, but F him. And you know what? Think of any supporting actor from any movie that supposedly beat that. Are you going to remember that over Ian McKellen's Gandalf? No, absolutely not. And you know what? Alec Guinness was robbed too. He should have won the Academy Award for Obi-Wan in the first Star Wars movie. Great performance. It's exactly what you want. A supporting performance that you absolutely remember forever. Every time the Academy votes, if you want to bring respectability back to the Academy Awards, every Academy voter needs to think about this. Will this role or movie be remembered in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years? Academy Award winners should be on that AFI Top 100 list, or they don't deserve it. And you know what? They should do years where they don't give it to somebody, where they're like, nobody was good enough. They need to bring prestige back and legitimacy. What right now it's all political, so they give them to movies. And this was started by Harvey, by the way. This was started by Harvey. And hopefully they go back to giving them to fracking movies. Dark Knight should have won Best Picture. Period. It should have won Best Picture. I will not even listen to an argument. Raiders of the Lost Ark should have won Best Picture. It was the best picture of 1981. F. Annie Hall. F. Annie Hall. Star Wars should have won Best Picture. Lord of the Rings should have won it all 3 fucking years. Spider-Man 2 should have won Best Picture. Iron Man #1 should have won Best Picture, because they were the best pictures that year. E.T. should have won Best Picture. For Christ's sake. But no, instead we get, oh God, what did, like A Beautiful Mind won. Who did it win over? That movie's stupid. That was dumb. And that's Akiva Goldsman. Freaking hated that movie. Yeah, don't get me started. The first time I had Nerd Rage, was probably when Empire Strikes Back didn't even get nominated. 1982. Or was it 83? 83. E.T. wins special effects over Blade Runner. Are you fucking kidding me? Blade Runner's special effects hold up to this very day. Douglas Trumbull is the single best effects wizard of damn near all time, next to Harryhausen, from Hollywood ever. Fucking genius what he did with Blade Runner. And E.T. and the stupid bicycle going. Listen, I know it was a symbol and I know it's memorable and it looked like shit. It looked like 1982 special effects, which are fine. I like the movie too, but it wasn't the spinner in LA that looked like a real fucking world. And the only problem was nobody watched the movie. I mean, nobody. I saw it in theaters. I did, with my friend Doug and my mom. My mom was bored. Funny story. My first concert was a Kiss concert in 1979, supporting probably their worst album. Their second worst album. This is in their makeup days, okay? Which was Dynasty, when they had the little feather boas and they were doing their disco thing, and I Was Made for Loving You. Charisma's a good song, but it was a pretty bad album. I loved it, though, when I was 9. So my mom took my friend and I, Bill Hodap, to the concert when we were 9, and she sat there with the flashlight, and she brought herself 2 extra C batteries, and she was reading some awful romance novel while we were rocking out the Kiss as 9-year-olds. Freaking smelling pot smoke all night. Got to see a pair of boobs. It was a good night. That was my very first concert. I don't know why I started on that story, but I did. Personally, I enjoyed The Hobbit just as much as Lord of the Rings because, to my knowledge, they kept a lot of the story material and completed Tolkien's story. I enjoyed The Hobbit too. I did not like Legolas getting cucked. Hated it. But I liked damn near everything else. Barrel Rider. And you know what? And I even liked the 48 frames per second. I thought it was kind of cool. It was different. I know it's not for everybody, but I liked it. I did. Hey, Gary, there are still... Okay, I already read it. Thank you, James. Thank you, Price is Right Review. Nettled Nerds for $5 if you want... Okay, I read that one too. Thank you. David A. Scovetta, thank you for the $1.99. R.I.P. Picard. Nerdy Nazgul, there you are, for $10. Could Voldemort actually save Amazon's Lord of the Rings? The need to recoup losses and the delay gives the cycle of wokery time to die. May make for a great series or just a fool's hope. Hail Lord of the Rings fans. Hail Lord of the Rings fans. No, it's not a fool's hope. I truly believe one of the reasons the writers got fired is because they did try to full woke that shit and they saw the tide. The tide was turning, folks. The data is in. The data was in before this thing happened. It was collapsing down around them. What you didn't hear, folks, is how much trouble Star Wars is in. Star Wars is in serious trouble. And now that Disney's got financial problems, you're starting to hear that get admitted out loud once in a while. And of course, you're going to have YouTubers going, everything's fine. Of course. They're freaking enabler fanboys who can't see reality. The High Republic looks ridiculously stupid. I don't even care about the woke stuff. It just looks dumb. It looks like YA drivel. The Mandalorian. Hey, the Mandalorian will go what, 3, 4, 5 seasons? And it's just a TV show. It's not anything epic. It's good. But it could go horribly bad. It needs to get more sophisticated. They need to get more sophisticated with the storytelling. And I don't know how you're going to do that with a guy in a mask the whole time. You can't rely on Baby Yoda. That gimmick might work another half a season. And yeah, it's decent. It's good normie fodder, but here's the deal. It's not going to catch on like Star Wars of old. So many people are turned off, and it's a dead meme. And Star Wars is dead. They burned it out. They burned it out to the point where people like Jeremy Griggs are now saying, I'm not even interested in Star Wars anymore. I can't even bring myself to watch another Clone Wars episode. I'm Star Warsed out. And that's not Star Wars fatigue. That's just fatigue. It's beyond fatigue. It's apathy, which is the worst thing you can have for a franchise. Pure and simple. It's what's happening to Doctor Who. It's what's happening to Star Trek. It's happening to Star Wars. You're watching the end of days for these 3 great franchises. We've got the old stuff, the stuff at the end. We can just chop it off in our head canon and forget about it. But as far as the bright future, Star Wars is too expensive, and it's not a guaranteed return. There's no guaranteed return on it. There's no guaranteed profitability. It's as risky as writing your own original movie. That's very expensive and putting it out there. So you might not see a Star Wars trilogy for a long time. And the only thing that's out there that might guarantee them some money, you know what it is, you know what I'm about to say, they're going to remake the original trilogy. Bet your ass that's what Disney's going to do. And that will just piss off Star Wars fans. Now, of course, there's going to be people out there going, I love it. I think it's a great idea. You know what Disney's going to do that? I'll laugh. But it's coming, folks. For a good YouTube channel on story building, check out Hello Future Me. Thanks for tonight's stream. Time to watch my Lord of the Rings extras on DVDs. Kemp Barnes, you are welcome. Thank you for the $4.99. Yes, it is. I might do that tonight too. It is, what time is it? I got my window in the way there. 11:14. Okay. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to wrap it up, folks. It'll be back to business tomorrow. But I promise I will keep doing these. These are like my old school streams. And we will, I don't know when I'll do them, but I'll try to mix it in once a week. Thankfully, this one didn't get ghosted. I bet you my one tomorrow will, which I need. That's the one I need to go out. This one I didn't care. Raging Festus for $2. Agreed. The media sucks. The media are trash. They're absolute trash. They're despicable. I was mad at them before. I'm furious at them now. I'm absolutely fracking furious. Brian Norton. Because we need them now. We need them now, and they're useless. They're fucking useless. Excuse my language. Chill stream. Got to remember. Brian Norton for 2,000 yen. I'm in Japan, so can't always catch live streams. Oh my God. I hope things are well over there. But always listen and watch after on my commutes to work on the train. And the train's brilliant over there. I wish we had Japanese trains over here. Thanks for the great content. My family is in California too and on lockdown. Stay safe. Brian, you stay safe as well. Yeah. And yeah, how's Japan doing? Are you able to take the train? That's good. Please be safe, everybody. Please. Like I said before, I don't know what to believe. I hope this is all blown over. I hope we can get mad about it later. Review Witcher 3, Gary. My Polish heart would melt. You would break internet with like Kim Kardashian. By the way, Kardashian is a dumb celebrity, but it would be a great name for an Umbar warlord. Kardashian? Yeah. That's a good last name. Lobocop 69. You know what? Sure. Why not? Once I'm done with Picard, I'll review Witcher 3. I'll be like Dark Side Phil, except I won't yell, but I'll suck. Probably worse than him. Twin for $2. Ever listen to Leonard Nimoy's song Bilbo Baggins? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Bilbo Baggins. The 60s were weird. The 60s and early 70s were just weird. That's when America was at its most cheesy. Like, none of that stuff was, that was all serious back then. Bell bottoms, the way they dressed. I can't explain it. I was there, and I can't explain it. It's just like the entire country was smoking the hippie lettuce. Bionic belly button. Hello, thank you for the $2. My beard is the beardiest beard to ever beard. Why, thank you. Why, let me comb it in your honor. Bionic belly button. I hope all is well. You are free of Twitter. Bless your heart. You're my inspiration. I will be doing that somebody too. Twitter's awful right now. I can't even. That's where my fury came from. I don't know if I'm that mad in the video, but yeah. It's so hard to maintain quality on a multi-season TV show, e.g. last season of Man in the High Castle. Marcus Aurelius Fortunatus for $5. Such promise. It started with such promise, but you know what? It got woke. It derailed it. It got freaking woke. It had to make the girl who was the key to everything, and she was the star, and they had a balanced show with a male lead and a female lead and kind of a love triangle thing, and then they just threw it to hell. It was stretched out too long, too. It probably should have only been 2 or 3 seasons, but that was Amazon getting woke. But Amazon's gone through 3, I don't know what, head of development for television. They've gone through 3. So the person who signed the Lord of the Rings deal's gone. Ace Christ for $4.99. How could Del Toro sell out so much with the Hobbit prequels? Could have had one incredible movie if it had kept practical effects and some effing integrity. Del Toro, I don't know what happened. You know what? Del Toro is a genius, Ace, and I met the man, and he's super nice. But I think he's just, well, maybe he's a lot like I am, man. You know, maybe he just works best on his own stuff. I don't think he's a very good gun for hire. I think he was for a while, but, you know, it becomes his film. His Hellboys are the shit. I fucking love them. Pan's Labyrinth was a great movie. I like his work for the most part. Shape of Water was, I think, really, 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 I don't know, overpraised in my opinion. It was pretty good. If it was Abe Sapien in that part, I would have liked it more. Doug Jones was great in it. Doug Jones fucking is awesome. I think he's a brilliant man. He showed me his sketchbook, Ace. I got to hold it. It was great. I was in the green room at Jimmy Kimmel when Jimmy Kimmel wasn't a sellout piece of shit, and Tenacious D was in there. I won an auction on eBay. And I was able, it was for Heroes Initiative. And they auctioned off. You can go in the green room at Jimmy Kimmel. You can meet Guillermo del Toro and Jack Black and Kyle Gass for like 10 minutes. You get to watch the show, and then you get to watch Tenacious D in the back. And I bid $350, and the kicker was you had to get down to LA like the next day. Well, I was in San Francisco, so I bid $350, and I won. I grabbed my friend John, and we went, and it was awesome. But I don't think he plays well with others. I think if Peter Jackson was on that project from the get-go, it would have been a lot different. They filmed way too much in green screen, and you can tell, and that's the big difference. In the late 90s, early 2000s, that's when the technology was changing, and films were forced still forced to be creative. That's why The Fifth Element was so great, because Luc Besson didn't have the effects that he had at his disposal, and Valerian, which is a damn shame. I like the movie, but I know it's not good. And those comics are so good. I wish that would have been done right. I Love Scotch for $10. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're brilliant. And Loquacious Primate for $2. Hail, Gary. Where was the first time, where were you first time reading Lord of the Rings? I was 17. It was 17. So it was 1987. And the only time I would crack open a book is when I was really bored. So I had to go on a family trip. And we were driving up to Yosemite. And this was weird because this was a time I could still read in a car. So I read it in a car. So it was 1987. I was 17 years old, and I was reading it in our Pontiac Grand Safari on the way to Yosemite with my friend Shane. I can no longer read in cars, by the way. If I read in a car, I will get sick. I get motion sickness. I don't know why. I can't even look at my phone too long. Yeah, it's weird. And that happened in my 20s. I don't know what the hell it is. But yeah, I get extremely car sick if I'm in the passenger seat reading anything. So that was my first time. I read it in Yosemite and on the way up to Yosemite, which is God's country. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you ever get a chance to go to Yosemite, go. You will love it. Go in the summer. It's best around 4th of July. That's when I usually went. There's a little river goes down the middle. There's tons of hiking. You can go up the back of Half Dome. It's good times. Good times. A lot of pretty girls. Or guys, if you're into that thing. It's a great place to go as a teenager. Trust me. All right, folks. We're going to wrap the chill stream up. If I missed any super chats, I'll hit them tomorrow. I'm going to be live at 11 a.m. I do have a video that's ready to go. That's actually ready to go. And it will be out tomorrow. It's a follow-up to the comic book stuff. I am about 1/3 the way through my Star Trek Picard review, and it's done when it's done. And then after that, I'm probably going to review The Witcher or something. I'm going to do something fun. And yeah, things are just weird. So I'm like really not worried about the algorithm. And the minute I'm not worried about the algorithm, my channel starts doing good. So it doesn't matter. If it all stops right here, I'm happy. I got you. We got each other. Past 230,000 subs yesterday. So thank you very much. Thank you to all who have subscribed and liked and shared the videos. I wish all of you well, even the enemies out there and the haters. I hope you're sincerely doing well. I hope your families are doing well. And we'll all get through this. We will get by. And well, we should probably go out with a Lord of the Rings. Hang on. We'll go out with some Lord of the Rings. The Riddle of Strider, shall we? The Riddle of Strider. Are we going to do older version? Let's just do the regular version, shall we? All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be the blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king. And may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.